ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we see how Kardama Muni was very much satisfied with the kind of service which Devahuti had rendered with great awe and reverence, with great intimacy. And now here we see not only with great intimacy and lot of respect, she was very humble and she rendered that service with love. Then we also see that Kardama Muni offered spiritual gift to Devahuti. And he also explained that these spiritual gifts are completely different from material gifts. These are never lost. All kinds of material gifts, they will be finished, they will be vanquished. But these spiritual reward, they place one in spiritual position where one becomes completely fearless. So, here it is explained, Devahuti was very much satisfied with these gifts. Just like we see, even in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj was not looking for spiritual gifts, he was looking for material gifts. But when he obtained the audience of the Lord directly, he realized his mistake and he was very satisfied with the spiritual blessings with the Lord, which the Lord had offered to him. Swamin Krithartosmi Varam Na Yache. I am now completely satisfied. I don't want anything else. So similarly, we see here Devahuti is very much satisfied. Why is she so much satisfied? What is her understanding? Is this because Kardama Muni is her husband? So let me be satisfied with whatever gift he is offering. No. Devahuti knew very well that Kardama Muni is very advanced in spiritual life. So, whatever gift he offers is the topmost gifts. Because a saintly person, a great personality like Kardama Muni, in that sense has nothing material to give. Their only possession is actually spiritual wealth. Here, there are some very important things which are mentioned, which we will try to understand. It is said here, upon hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental signs. This is the qualification. Why she is so much satisfied with the gifts? Because she knew that Kardama Muni excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental signs. There are various levels of transcendental signs. There is a knowledge of Atma, there is a knowledge of Paramatma, there is knowledge of Brahman, and there is knowledge of Supreme Bhagavan. So Devahuti knew that Kardama Muni is on the topmost transcendental platform of devotional service. He has excelled even in transcendental knowledge. So, this is very important to understand, and Prabhupada is highlighting this point in the purport today. Sometimes, a lot of people ask this question, and we find the same thing in the life of Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his early childhood, he had undergone the study of grammar, the study of varieties of Nyaya, logic, and he was the greatest of the Pandit of his time. He was called as Nimai Pandit. But then, when he met his spiritual master, Ishwarapuri, Ishwarapuri advised him that better you don't read Vedanta. Better you don't undertake the studies of all this Vedic literature, because you will get bewildered. You just take to the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So keeping firm faith in the words of his spiritual master, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took to the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and he found that his life was completely transformed. He was without his knowledge in ecstatic love. He was chanting and he became mad with ecstasy. And in the beginning he started thinking that looks like all my knowledge is covered. Whatever knowledge I had, it has now become covered with ignorance. Let me go and just try to understand it with my spiritual master. So he went back to his spiritual master and revealed. And he said, Kiba mantra dilo Gosai, what kind of mantra have you given me? By chanting I have become mad, and looks like that my knowledge has become covered with illusion. So Ishwarapuri replied that actually these are the symptoms of topmost transcendental platform which you have achieved simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. This is the very nature of the holy name, that anyone who chants, it induces him to dance in ecstasy. That is the nature of the holy name. So he said, not only you chant, you make others to also chant the holy name. And that is the point where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave up all his so-called scholarship and simply performed the Sankirtana, going house to house, street to street, and inundating the whole world in love of Godhead. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting in ecstasy like this, in Jagannath Puri, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fainted in ecstasy in Jagannath Puri, and he was brought to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya advised him that you are a young sannyasi, better you should study Vedanta, I will teach you Vedanta. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, okay, you teach me Vedanta. And continuously Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was hearing. You see. But later we find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that the essence of Vedanta is to understand Krishna and to glorify, chant the holy name of Krishna. And we find Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also gave up his so-called scholarship and became a great devotee of the Lord. That we discussed earlier, that the same Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya who was so much attached to impersonal liberation actually started hating even the very word mukti. So when he quoted the verse from Bhagavatam which said mukti, he changed it to bhakti. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied that see how much transformation has come in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, that he does not even like this word mukti. But of course Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that we should not be changing the words of Bhagavatam. Mukti actually means being situated in our original position as the servant of Krishna. That is the real meaning of mukti. So we do not require it to change it to bhakti, because there is no difference between actual mukti and bhakti. Because real mukti is obtained when one has become situated in devotional service. Otherwise, it is temporary mukti. It is not actual mukti. One again falls down. If he is not situated in his original position, one again falls down. Temporarily, one may be elevated. So, we can see that actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated one who is chanting the holy name of the Lord actually has finished all the studies of the Vedanta. He practically demonstrated that after reading Vedanta, after reading logic, after reading all grammar, everything, finally he came to the conclusion that we should simply chant and glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we find the same thing with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was a great Vedantist. That factually he gave up the so-called study of Vedanta and he took to devotional service of the Lord. You see? So, this is very important to understand that if somebody is chanting the holy name of the Lord, if somebody has come to the point of chanting the holy name of the Lord, that means he has already finished all his Vedanta studies, because the final gist of the Vedanta is to understand Krishna and glorify Krishna. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita itself. Vedanta krit vedavit chaham. And from all the Vedas I am to be known. Vedischa sarve aham eva vedyaha. So if one has come already to that point, then one should understand that actually one has surpassed all the other Vedic literatures, all the other knowledge. Now he has achieved the topmost transcendental knowledge. So Devahuti understood this conclusion that Kardama Muni, being engaged in devotional service of the Lord, is the topmost transcendentalist. He has excelled in all transcendental knowledge. You see, this is very important for devotees to understand. Otherwise, sometimes devotees, they will think that looks like that I am lacking in some knowledge, let me read Vedanta, let me read some other Vedic literatures. No. Finally, after reading all of them, is not for showing our panditya. It is to come to the point of rendering devotional service to the Lord. That means, actually, devotee cannot be in ignorance. Because someone who is practicing law, he cannot be bereft of knowledge of graduation. Correct? What does it mean? If somebody is already practicing law, that means he has already passed, he has already gone through graduation, isn't it? Similarly, if somebody is chanting the holy name of the Lord, that means he has already studied all other Vedic literature. Then only he has come to the conclusion of chanting the holy name of the Lord. This is a great gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that which was obtained after going through all the Vedic studies, now simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord we come to that position wherein we have surpassed all other different kinds of Vedic studies. In Bhagavad Gita, we find this very systematically explained. Otherwise, sometimes even devotees fail to understand how devotional service is the topmost platform, how this is the greatest of the knowledge. Correct? Sometimes even devotees fail to understand. Third chapter, in the second chapter, Krishna begins with knowledge of matter and spirit. Krishna explains what is matter and what is spirit. What is the difference between them? How knowledge of spirit is superior to the knowledge of matter. Krishna gives the knowledge about soul, Atma. Correct? Arjuna becomes bewildered. Arjuna starts thinking, if knowledge is greater, then why should I get engaged in work? Because knowledge is greater after all. I should pursue knowledge, transcendental knowledge. So he is thinking transcendental knowledge pursuing means you have to give up all kinds of work and simply you have to study some kind of Vedanta kind of study. Correct? This is what one will be thinking. And this is exactly what Arjuna thought. And then he is asking Krishna that if transcendental knowledge is greater, then why you want me to get engaged in this ghastly warfare? I should give up this and I should just pursue understanding transcendental knowledge. Then Krishna explains to Arjuna in the third chapter, my dear Arjuna, first of all, nobody can give up work. Even if you think I will give up work and I will pursue transcendental knowledge, you cannot give up. Living entity cannot, even for a moment, shanam api, cannot be free from doing some or other kind of work. So transcendental knowledge should not be pursued by giving up the work, rather by doing the work in knowledge. This is what Krishna explained in the third chapter. What did Krishna say? Yagnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Do your work, perform the work, but perform the work for the satisfaction of the Lord. With this understanding, you perform the work. That kind of work will not bind you, that kind of work will liberate you. Other kind of work will bind you. This kind of work will not bind you. You see? So Krishna is telling Arjuna to perform sacrifices. Then, in the next chapter, where Krishna is talking about knowledge, transcendental knowledge, Krishna is once again explaining in the 4th chapter that all kind of sacrifices culminate in transcendental knowledge. All kind of sacrifices which are performed for the satisfaction of the Lord culminates in transcendental knowledge. So, actually, when all of us are doing work for the sake of the Lord, for the satisfaction of the Lord, it will all culminate in transcendental knowledge. This is what is stated in Bhagavad Gita. So how can a devotee be bereft of knowledge? Correct? Only thing is, Prabhupada explains the difference between the knowledge acquired by so-called transcendentalists and the devotee is that this knowledge is gifted by the Lord as His mercy. The devotee does not have to try all these things separately. Just like we sing, Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashito. By rendering transcendental loving service to the spiritual master, actually that knowledge becomes enlightened in our heart. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that with transcendental knowledge, the Lord lights up the heart of a devotee and all his ignorance is gone. Krishna also says, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Krishna gives intelligence, Krishna gives that knowledge, whatever is required. So devotee is not bereft of knowledge. We have to understand. The method of acquiring is different. Prabhupada gives the example. One way of becoming rich is that you work hard day and night and gradually you build up your richness. Another is, if one rich man gives you a check of millions of dollars, overnight you become rich. Isn't it? Devotional service is like that. By getting the mercy of the Lord, by getting the mercy of the spiritual master, one becomes enlightened in this knowledge. That's how you find humility is one of the item of knowledge, because knowledge dawns upon a person when he is humble. When with humility he surrenders to the spiritual master, renders service to him in humility and surrender, then knowledge will come to him. So actually this is the real process of gaining transcendental knowledge. So, I'll just read one beautiful portion in Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, where Krishna explains that actually all sacrifices leads to transcendental knowledge. So Krishna is saying in 33rd verse, O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice of knowledge is greater than the sacrifice of material possession. O son of Pratha, after all, the sacrifice of work culminates in transcendental knowledge. Sacrifice of work done for Lord Vishnu will culminate in transcendental knowledge. This is the method of gaining transcendental knowledge, not just by reading. We should be ready to do all kind of menial service for the sake of the Lord. In the morning I was just discussing with one of the devotees that in one of the temples, just few days back in the lockdown period, he was asked that because workers are not coming, then services were assigned to clean the temple, to clean the different portions of the temple. The devotee came back to the temple commander and said, I am 10-year-old in devotional service in the temple. You are asking me to clean the temple? See? So, this is a misunderstanding. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally cleaned the temple. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He personally cleaned the temple of the Lord. Amrish Maharaj personally cleaned the temple of the Lord. You see? So, sometimes we get some kind of misunderstanding of Krishna consciousness. That is not Krishna consciousness. One should understand. If one is thinking that now I have become very mature in devotional service, so I cannot be cleaning dishes of the Lord, I cannot be cleaning the temple of the Lord, this is all workers' work. This can be done by some worker. Why I should be preaching Krishna consciousness? No, that is not transcendental knowledge. Simply speaking out is not transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is gained by service. One should understand this. What is Krishna saying? Culmination of sacrifice of work. That is transcendental knowledge. You see? That's how we find that when some great Pandit came to discuss with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he wanted to discuss Bhagavad Gita. He said, first go and approach my disciples. So his disciples were all busy in cleaning the temple, in rendering varieties of menial services they were doing. And then when they said that we will discuss, then they said, first you get engaged here, then after that we will discuss. So they engaged him in menial service. Actually, that is a way of gaining transcendental knowledge. You see? So this is what Krishna is saying, that all sacrifices, work done for the satisfaction of the Lord, leads to transcendental knowledge. Then Krishna explains how it has to be gained, how this transcendental knowledge is gained. Next verse is that famous verse, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. So this transcendental knowledge, what does it say? Updekshanti te jnanam. They will give you transcendental knowledge because they have seen the truth. Updekshanti means they will reveal to you, they will tell you the truth. The real knowledge they will give you because they have seen the truth. So it is not to be gained by reading some Vedanta, it has to be gained by surrendering. Tat vidhi pranipatena, surrender. Render service to him. Then he will bestow you with transcendental knowledge. Next it says, when we have learned the truth from such realized souls, then what will be the effect? When you have thus learned the truth, you will know all living beings are but part of me and they are in me and are mine. That means one will clearly understand his position, one will clearly understand the position of Krishna, that all living entities are nothing but part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, servant of the Supreme Lord. Next, Krishna explains what happens, because one may think, no, I am very sinful in my life. Krishna explains that this transcendental knowledge is so great, you may be the most sinner, most sinful, does not matter. It can take you across this material ocean. So next Krishna says, Api chedasi papebhyaha sarvebhyaha papakritam. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So we have to become situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge. Then we will be able to cross over these miseries of this material world. Next, Krishna explains this transcendent, nothing is in this material world is like transcendental knowledge. What is it? As the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burns to ashes all reactions to material activities. So with transcendental knowledge, we have to serve. Transcendental knowledge is like fire which will burn all our sinful reactions to ashes. Then next Krishna says, nothing can compare to transcendental knowledge. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. One who has achieved this enjoys the self within himself in due course of time. So there is nothing comparable to transcendental knowledge. So, we can see here, Devahuti was able to recognize this, that Kardama Muni has got the matured fruit of transcendental knowledge. He is expert, most experienced in all kinds of transcendental knowledge. So Prabhupada is saying, upon hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental science, innocent Devahuti was very satisfied. In the purport, Prabhupada is saying, it is said, if one is already engaged in Krishna consciousness and is rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord, then it can be supposed that he has finished all recommended course of austerity, penance, religion, sacrifice, mystic yoga and meditation. See, this looks something, that how it is possible one who is engaged in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he has surpassed all kind of penances, all kind of religion, sacrifices, mystic yoga, meditation, everything. So sacrifices we have seen, because by performing sacrifice for the Lord, one gains transcendental knowledge. So yes, he has already surpassed all kind of sacrifices, correct? If he is already engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord, all sacrifices he has already performed. How does one understand about austerity, penances? It is said in the Vedic literature also, very nicely it is said, there is a beautiful verse Prabhupada explains, Aradhito yadi hari tapasa tatha kim. If somebody is already worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what austerity he has to perform? He doesn't require to perform any kind of austerity. He is already worshipping the Supreme Lord. Because factually, with all austerity, one has to come to the point of worshipping the Supreme Lord. So if one is already worshipping, then he doesn't have to undertake all kind of austerities. Naradhito yadi hari tapasa tatha kim. And if by performing all kind of austerity, one is not coming to the point of worshipping the Lord, what is the use of tapasya for him? There is no use of performing austerity at all. And then it says, Antar bahir yadi hari tapasa tatha kim. The most advanced devotee who is able to see Krishna inside and outside, for him where is the question of performing so-called austerities? Isn't it? So that means one who is worshipping the Supreme Lord he has surpassed all kinds of austerities, everything. In fact, there is a verse in Bhagavatam. What is that? Yan Nama Dhyayad. Somebody knows that verse? Remembers? Devahuti is chanting that verse. Next verse is Aho Bata Swapacho Ato Gariyan. Yad jivhagare vartate nama tubhyam. One verse before that. Yes. Yes. Yan nam dheya shravananu kirtanat. Yes. Smaranad api kvachit kalpate. Very good. Darshana. Yes. So there it clearly says, anyone who is remembering the Lord, chanting the holy name of the Lord, becomes eligible to perform sacrifices. According to, generally according to the Vedic literature, until and unless you are born in a family of a Brahmana, you are not eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. Because it's a fact. One takes birth according to our karma. So, if I have taken birth in a family of a Chandala, that means I am very sinful. If I am very sinful, how can I perform sacrifices? I am not eligible. Somebody has taken birth in a Brahminical family. He has taken birth because of his punya karma. He is eligible in that sense. Of course, he has to acquire qualification. Not that just by birth. But yes, he is in a position. So, Bhagavatam says, if somebody is remembering the Lord, somebody is chanting the holy name of the Lord, such a person, even though he is born in the family of a dog eater, he becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. And in the very next verse, she is saying, Devhuti is saying, Aho bato swapacho ato gariyan yad jivhagare vartate nama tubhyam tepus tapaste junu sasunur arya. Correct? That all kinds of tapasyas, all kinds of sacrifices, everything they have finished in their previous life, and now even though he may be born in the family of a dog eater, his tongue is able to chant the holy name of the Lord. That means previously he has already finished all these things. After that only one is able to chant the holy name of the Lord. So, there also actually we can see that, as Prabhupada is saying here, that after finishing all tapasyas and everything, is actually coming to the point of rendering transcendental devotional service to the Lord. So, that's how we can find that Devahuti was so much confident that whatever gift is being offered by Kardama Muni is actually the topmost gift, because he is expert in all kinds of transcendental science, because he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. So we'll stop with this. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.